Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you understand English well but struggle to speak smoothly in real situations, this video is for you. Many people face this problem, but very few understand what is actually happening. You may have noticed this before. When you are alone, your English feels normal. You can think clearly and your sentences come out without much effort. But the moment someone starts listening to you, something shifts. Your mind tightens, your words slow down, and suddenly you feel like your English is not the same anymore. This is not a video about learning more grammar or memorizing new words. It is about understanding why your English behaves differently under pressure. Once you understand this, you will stop blaming yourself and start fixing the real issue. Why your English changes when someone listens. Let me be clear about one thing. Your English is not weak. If it were, you would not be able to follow conversations or understand content like this. You would not be able to form sentences in your head or explain ideas clearly when you are alone. The knowledge is already there. The problem starts when you become aware that someone is listening to you. At that moment, your focus slowly moves away from your message. You begin to notice yourself speaking. You start thinking about mistakes, grammar, and how you sound. This shift may feel small, but it creates pressure inside your mind. When pressure increases, the brain does not work the same way. It becomes more cautious and more alert. Instead of helping you express ideas, it tries to protect you from saying something wrong. That is why familiar words suddenly disappear and simple sentences feel harder to complete. This is also why your English feels different in different situations. When you are relaxed, your thoughts flow more easily. But when you feel judged or evaluated, your mind tightens and your speech becomes hesitant. The language did not change. Only the pressure did. Over time, this makes you believe that your English cannot be trusted. You start thinking that you are bad at speaking, even though the real issue is how your brain reacts under pressure. English was never meant to be spoken with fear. The more you try to control every sentence, the more difficult speaking becomes. So this is not a problem of ability. It is a problem of pressure. And once you understand this, you stop fighting yourself and start moving in the right direction. How your brain learned to fear speaking English. Now the real question is this. If your English is not weak, then why does your brain react this way in the first place? This pattern did not appear randomly. Your brain learned it. Think back to how English entered your life. For most people, English did not start as a language for expression. It started as a subject, a test, something that could be marked right or wrong. From the beginning, English came with correction, comparison, and judgment. Mistakes were highlighted. Silence felt safer than speaking wrong. And slowly, your brain connected English with evaluation. So every time you speak, your brain asks a hidden question. Is this safe? Will I be judged? Will I look foolish? When the answer feels uncertain, the brain becomes alert. Not to help you speak better, but to protect you. That is why this reaction feels automatic. You are not choosing to panic. Your brain is following an old pattern that once helped you avoid embarrassment. And here is the most important part. The brain does not care whether the danger is real or imagined. If it feels similar to past experiences, it reacts the same way. So, a meeting feels like an exam. An interview feels like a test. A simple conversation feels like a performance. Your body stays calm, but your mind prepares for judgment. And in that state, speaking becomes effortful. This is also why practice alone often does not fix the problem. When you practice alone, the pressure is missing. Your brain feels safe, so English flows. But when people are involved, the old association returns. This does not mean you are broken. It means your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do. The mistake most learners make is trying to fix this with more grammar, more vocabulary, and more rules. But rules do not remove fear. They often increase it. Before English can become natural, your brain needs to feel that speaking is safe again. Not perfect, Not impressive, just safe. And until that happens, fluency will always feel unstable. Reducing pressure so your English can flow again. Once you understand that your problem is pressure, not English, the solution becomes much simpler than you expect. You do not need to fix your language first. You need to change how your brain experiences speaking. The first shift is letting go of the idea that every sentence must sound correct. When your goal is correctness, your attention stays locked on mistakes. But when your goal becomes clarity, your brain relaxes. You are no longer performing. You're just sharing a thought. This is why fluent speakers often use simple sentences. They're not trying to sound advanced. They're trying to be understood. The moment you allow yourself to speak imperfectly, the pressure drops and access to language improves. Another important shift is how you start speaking. Many people wait until a sentence feels perfect in their head before they say it. That waiting increases tension. Instead, begin speaking earlier, even if the sentence is not fully formed. When your mouth moves, your brain follows. Flow creates clarity, not the other way around. It also helps to slow your inner reaction to mistakes. When a small error happens, your mind often reacts faster than the listener does. That reaction creates more damage than the mistake itself. If you continue speaking without stopping, the brain learns that mistakes are not dangerous. Over time, these small experiences send a new message to your brain. Speaking is not an exam. Nothing bad happens when I speak imperfectly. I can continue even if I am not fully sure. This is how safety is rebuilt. Not through confidence tricks, but through repeated calm experiences. When pressure reduces, fluency does not need to be forced. It starts returning on its own. Words come back. Sentences feel lighter. And speaking stops feeling like something you have to survive. From trying to speak English to actually using it. At some point, improving your English stops being about techniques and starts becoming about identity. Not the identity of someone who is learning English, but the identity of someone who uses English. Fluent speakers are not people who never feel nervous. They are people who no longer see nervousness as a signal to stop. They speak even when their voice feels slightly unsure. They continue even when a sentence does not come out perfectly. And because they continue, the brain learns that speaking is safe. This is the shift that changes everything. You stop asking yourself whether your English is good enough, and you start focusing on whether your message is reaching the other person. When attention moves outward, pressure loses its power. Your English was never missing. It was hidden behind control, fear, and overthinking. The moment you stop trying to protect every sentence, your natural ability begins to show again. This is why real fluency feels calm. Not fast, not fancy, just calm. It feels like you are allowed to pause, to rephrase, and to be human. And when you give yourself that permission, your brain no longer needs to block your language. So, if you have been blaming your ability all this time, let that go. Your English does not need to be fixed. Your relationship with speaking does. And once that relationship changes, English stops feeling like a test you must pass and starts feeling like a tool you can actually use. When English finally feels safe. Before you try to fix your English again, take a quiet moment and notice this. Every time you told yourself that you are bad at speaking, you were responding to pressure, not truth. Your brain was trying to protect you from judgment, not proving that you lack ability. You do not need to become more confident to speak better. You need to feel safer while speaking. The moment you stop treating every sentence like a risk, your English starts coming back to you. So, when your voice feels unsure or a sentence feels incomplete, do not pull back. Stay with it. Let the thought finish. That small choice teaches your brain that nothing bad happens when you speak. Fluency does not arrive through force or perfection. It arrives when you allow yourself to be human. And the day speaking English feels safe, it finally becomes free. If this video connected with you, let me know in the comments. If you want more videos that explain English in a real and practical way, make sure you subscribe. Press the bell icon and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.